Hello, Uganda. Good evening and welcome to the Hot Seat on 933 KFM. We begin with an apology for beginning late, but nevertheless, like they say, better late than never. We shall be able to catch up and try to find out how the day has been. For the, as far as National Unity Platform is concerned, it appears not all is well because some of the top echelons of the party have been arrested. Well, others are getting released, some are getting arrested. And but this is something they've been able to contend with for quite some time. We've been hoping to get the spokesperson of the military and the Minister of Defense, Major General Felix Kulaije, but in the moment, we now have the National Unity Platform lawyer and an aspirant for Kira Municipality, Mr. George Musisi, is joining us online. George, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Patrick. Good evening, the listeners. It
must have been a very, tiresome day for you, frustrating day for
Absolutely.
you, because your members have been arrested, have been taken by the military. If you can narrate for our listeners exactly what happened and what are you trying to do?
Of course, it's what is happening is a continuation of what has been happening for a while, using the law to punish or persecute people for their political opinions. It was at the forefront in the last elections, and certainly it's been ongoing and it's been intensified lately. This morning alone, in Michiana Magistrates Court, some of our members, including our head of mobilization, was arraigned in court together with others, where he was arrested last week, where they were launching the campaign, the protest campaign for, which is the theme for our approach to elections this time. He was arrested last Thursday and was in court today. The same day.
And you're meaning Mr. Habibu Buwembo? Mr.
Habibu Buwembo, absolutely.
Okay.
We were also at Kawempe Magistrates Court, which is located at Kanyanya, where some of our colleagues, including Eddie Mtwanda Chile, who were arrested some time back and then charged with the offense of the colonial offense of unlawful drilling, were set to appear. 2 days ago, another of one of the security members of NUP president, Mr. Calvin Tassi, who is commonly known as Bobby Giant, was also arrested on Saturday, and he was arraigned in court today alongside Eddie Mtwanda Chileo. There were other 3 gentlemen who were arrested on Thursday. They were arrested at a time when Honorable Balimwezi was having his nomination day rally at Kafule, our party headquarters. A number of people were arrested that day. Some were released, some were Tabs was released on Friday. Now these 3, surprisingly and quite ironically, they were arrested on Thursday, and they were also added onto this charge together with Eddie Mtwanda Chileo. Never mind that the contents of that charge, as per the prosecution, is that the events which happened at Kavule when they allegedly held the parade, these 3 gentlemen were not even there. So it's just like they just use the charges, the law, for purposes of persecuting NUP people. Even the charge which Eddie Mtwanda and actually were facing in Masaka, aggravated robbery. One of the people there, who is called Gaddafi, commonly known as Gaddafi, he wasn't even there on the, if you look at the particulars which make up the charge sheet, he wasn't in Masaka on that day. So, as we were at the court premises, of course, one of our deputy spokesperson was also, of course, we don't use the word arrest because an arrest is defined in the law and it's specified in our constitution. Where people come in plain clothes and unregistered vehicle, they don't tell you the charge, they tell you, take you to an ungazetted place, they don't tell you your relatives next of kin where you are. That certainly doesn't fit an arrest, it's an abduction.
And now, you're talking about Mr. Mufumbiro.
Waiso Mufumbiro, yes.
Yes, Mr. Waiso Mufumbiro.
He was also abducted at court premises and taken by security agencies, which we don't know very well. So this is basically a continuation, and they are just using any form of charge, just like they did in 2021, where they would use the issue of being found in possession of a uniform akin to the army, and they would arrest people with t-shirts, people with capes, people with shades, people with umbrellas. So they are doing exactly this, for purposes of using the law to fight the NUP, which is sad.
So now, I know Eddie Mutwe was supposed to come to court to hear for his bail application. I don't know, how did that go?
The bail applications were made for Eddie Mutwe, for Achille Chivumbi, and for Giant. Of course, the state had asked for 1 month to have their the papers of the treaties scrutinized. Actually, these are just AOC introduction letters and action IDs. And you can imagine that the state can ask for a whole month to ask. And then court adjourned the matter to the 29th of this month, where the state will respond. And hopefully the court will also make a ruling on the same day. Hopefully it won't be adjourned for another 1 month.
It must be a very tough moment for you as a human rights lawyer, but also as the lawyer of some of these people, because before you know it, you have to go to Mashaka. Before you know it, you are needed in Bali. Before you know it, you are in Kampala.
Absolutely.
How are you doing this?
As you know, today there were even other colleagues who were in Katakwi, who were supposed to appear in Katakwi. There are people who were supposed to appear in Bali. And as you know, we also have people who are still in incarceration, where the court, who have been in incarceration, some of them for even 5 years, where courts have denied them bail, where the state has failed to transfer their files. So we are also trying to look for all sorts of remedies for them. So it is a hectic process, but that is part of the reason why they want to do this. They want to stretch us as much as possible, and then to create a sort of desperate situation.
So for those who were arrested on Thursday and you have been able to see them today, I don't know, you as their lawyer, whether you are able to speak to your clients and what stories do they tell you?
Well, I spoke to 3 of them. Who were brought at court premises earlier. They had been detained at Wandagea police station. Apart from being beaten on arrest, they were not beaten during detention. But which is also another sad story of how we've come to know, how we've come to bastardize the whole issue of security enforcement. That security is now known to be one where people don't identify themselves, where people don't take you to an ungazetted place, and we have normalized that which is bad.
But you know, when you are in court, because the people you're dealing with are also officers of court on the other side of the argument, lawyers like you, people with the legal background, how do you discuss? I'm talking about the prosecutors and yourselves, because you're supposed to be the land friends.
Sadly, Patrick, when people are in positions where they are supposed to do to pay allegiance not to the law but to the command behind the law, that's what happened. Without doubt, even police, even these security agencies which torture people have legal officers. Surprisingly or ironically, they have legal officers. So the intention is not the lack of capacity or lack of knowledge by these police of ours, but the environment with which you are working, that there are, in fact, even judicial officers, you'd ask yourself, for instance, some of them are still in unlawful custody, and the application for habeas corpus has been before the High Court for the last 1 week, I think more than a week. The High Court said, okay, the state is given 7 days. Never mind that the law says the person should be produced in 48 hours. So it's not about them not knowing what the law says. It's about the environment within which they are working, which has made everyone know that it's not the allegiance to the law or the letter of the law, but we always hear this story, how the environment, the environment. And we really do understand. That is why it takes a perspective of every Ugandan to know that this is something that people should stand up to.
So which also brings a question, especially you as an office of court. And when people are aggrieved, they go to court to seek redress, and you think you're going to find a court that is impartial, that is fair, that's going to look at things in a manner that is very professional. So you as lawyers, are you losing some kind of confidence in the judicial system of Uganda? And if you do, one wonders, why would you every time appear to the system that you think you have no confidence in? Mr. Musise, can you hear me? Mr. Musise, you're online.
The number you have called is not available at the moment.
Okay, we seem to have lost the connection to Mr. George Musisi, who is the lawyer for the new party members who have been arrested, and he's been saying that even the people of legal background on the other side of the argument seem not to be following the law, even if they have been to the law school together. The interpretation is different, and he thinks the law is not being followed. And we know that on Saturday, Bobby Wine's bodyguard, Tassie Kelvin, but commonly known as Bobby Giant, was picked from Kawempe, where he was escorting the Kawempe North Member of Parliament, Elias Luimba Zinalukola, was moving around his constituency where residents were complaining about waste disposal by the Reham group, and that's where they picked him. But also today, another Eddie Mutwe, Achileo Kivumbi, came to court in Kanyanya, where they had applied to get bail, but they never. That was extended for them to come back to court on the 29th. And also Bobby Giant or Tassie Calvin appeared in court today. Things have been happening quite fast for the members of NOP. Earlier today, I saw a tweet from Bobby Wine who was saying his comrade Tassie Calvin was violently abducted outside Reham factory in Kawempe by armed soldiers who whisked him away in a drone. Bobby Wine also reported on his Twitter handle or X handle that in Katakwi district, police detained several leaders of the National Unity Platform, including Okware Jonathan, who's the coordinator of Katakwi or Teso Sub-Region for National Unity Platform. We seem to have reconnected online with Mr. George Musisi. George, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, Patrick. So
yes,
I think
I was putting a question, George.
By those enemies of progress.
I was putting a question, George, that you as an office of court, as you try to do your work, do you still have any confidence in the judicial system of Uganda? And if you do have, that's a good thing. But if you don't, one would wonder why you keep appearing before a system that you think has lost its soul.
Well, we do appreciate and understand that we're in a struggle to liberate not just, but largely to liberate the issue of the rule of law, to return fidelity to the law. And we know that the courts also have their challenges. They have strong challenges because of we are not oblivious to the working environment within which they operate. We also know that that's what the law says. That's what if the Constitution says that if you're aggrieved, you go to court. And we believe that because rule of law presupposes you to believe in the law. So whereas they have their own challenges, whereas I will not ask someone who is aggrieved to go to a fasting spree or to go to the shrine or to go and take the law into their own hands. Whereas we have a lot of problems and they have a lot of challenges, our court. It's what we have. That's what the law sets in place. And we believe in the law. We believe in fidelity to the law. That's why we struggle so much to see that the independence of the judiciary is strengthened, because everyone wins when we have an independent judiciary. So it's not about if we lose confidence in the system, are we going to tell people to take the law in their own hands? No. We know that the institutions have their problems, but we still go there because it should also be mindful that there are some wins, of course, from there. So we should just support them overcome these challenges, because the threats to their challenges sometimes affect all of them as well.
There are many times, George, when you have appeared in court and you have been served, justice has been seen to be done in court, and many times you have carried the day. Quite other times you don't. So isn't that the nature of the judicial system?
Yes, that's what I'm saying, that there are some wins we've got from there. And it's not about us not getting the decision we want. No. It's about receiving fairness, and everyone, both the officers, of course, the general public, and most importantly, the judicial officer, to pay utmost fidelity to the law. So there are so many times when we don't get issues our way. Well, we don't have a problem with it, but the issue is getting a bad decision when it's not anchored in the law. And increasingly, we are getting many of them.
So it is also, you're not just a lawyer, George, because yourself, you are actively involved in the politics of the day. You are an aspirant for the Kira municipality position on the National Unity Platform. Are you yourself beginning to see pressure coming your side, and probably you find yourself, in a collusion course against the state institutions?
That is without doubt, because we have especially security operatives who look at genuine or legitimate opposition as enemies of the state. So where we have that, we shall absolutely have those positions. We shall have issues where people collide, many times, of course, unfairly. I have no problem, and I've said it over and over again, that it's not about you enforcing the law against any supporter, or the issue is treating them fairly and treating them as per the law says. If you think you have a charge against them, take them to court. Don't detain them in an ungazetted place. Don't torture them. If you take them to court, bring evidence. You arrest someone in January, you say you have evidence, investigations are done, and 8 months later, you have not brought a single witness. That is not fair. That is not just. That is persecution.
But really, one would wonder, George, because the people who are running the affairs in the court system, whom you meet, these are your colleagues. These are people whom you know first name basis. I'm wondering, in the corridors of power, when you are talking, do they also feel like they are captured, or they are totally in agreement of what is going on? How do you read the temperament?
Sometimes you get that. Sometimes you get the feeling that someone is not to do the right thing, but they are held up by other reasons. Sometimes you can't see it, but you can read the environment. In fact, I remember one time when in one of the cases where we got a very terrible decision, the judge even called me prior and told me, he was at pains to defend his decision before delivering it. So it's like I said, we're not oblivious of the system. However, we should not use that as a sign to get them off the hook, because they are called to a higher standard.
You know, what you have just said is very explosive, that somebody told you in camera that the decision is actually coming from somewhere else.
Of course, he didn't say it's coming from somewhere, but you could see that he was at pains to defend the bad decision. And it was certainly bad, and it had very little in it. It had more of other issues. But that's what I'm saying, that whereas we understand the environment, courts are called to a higher standard. Courts are called to uphold the law, irrespective of use the law which is in front of you. Of course, world over, I know that where we have had problems, courts have received intimidation. Courts have been intimidated, but military still, most of the wins that have been got in such times, they are got from courts, even during apartheid. Courts would make some decisions. Of course, there are also some state courts or judicial officers who are under capture, but there are also so many wins got from courts.
And lastly, George, the first time we saw Eddie Mutwe after he had just been incarcerated, he didn't look to be in a good state health-wise. He looked a very broken man. His spirit was down. I wonder how he is as of today.
Of course, even physically, he's not so well, because he's still working with an aid of a walking aid. However, we know that courts in Masaka ordered that he should be subjected to a thorough medical examination. That has never been done. Court also ordered that he should be transferred to a medical facility inside the prison. That has never been done. So before you could even talk about his health, before that examination is done, you can't be certain. You can't know how he is. You can't know how he is, and you can't tell, because the torture, apart from even the physical marks, which are still evident, but torture also leaves an invisible mark, which can't be seen, which can only be attended to by a specialist.
Mr. George Musisi, National Unity Platform lawyer, but also aspirant for the Kira Municipality Member of Parliament seat, I want to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Patrick.
We're going to take a break on the hot seat. We'll be right back. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Amara. We have just been having a discussion with Georgia Musisi, who is the lawyer for the National Unity Platform members who have been arrested. He's also an aspirant for the Kira Municipality Member of Parliament. He's giving us an account of how things have been working out. Of course, it looks like what he's going through is extremely difficult, but he's hopeful that he can always work towards towards seeking justice without getting tired. And also another politician and a man who spent more than 9 years in a notorious jail in the Democratic Republic of Congo in the Ndola prison, came back to Uganda. He's been also having his own political ambition, and it is reported he's also missing. And I'm talking about Sam Mugumya. Sam Mugumya is quite a character. He's a very dynamic young man who for many years has endured the hard life of prison in the notorious jail of Congo. But when he comes back to Uganda, he's having his own political ambition. He's also finding himself arrested. We are joined online by Mr. Kato Tumusime from Mujisha and Kiza Company Advocates. He's one of the lawyers for Sam Mugumya. Mr. Kato Tumusime, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you for joining us. You know, when I read about Sam Mugumya's disappearance or being arrested or abducted, whatever you want to call it, and considering what he has gone through over the years, I felt like saying he's falling victim of Murphy's Law. Anything and everything that can potentially go wrong for Sam Mugumya is going wrong. What is happening this time around?
As we speak, maybe to give a sneak peek to our listeners, is that Sam now has been missing for 12 days. He was abducted from Barara or kidnapped and taken at the CMI. That's why he's being held by armed men, some in uniform, some not in uniform, for now 12 days. We secured an order for habeas corpus to have his body produced before court, dead or alive, and that is available, which was granted to us on Friday. The unfortunate bit is that by Friday, the time we got the ruling to extract the order, it was already late, so we had it extracted today, served on the Attorney General, served on the CDF, and served on the head of the CMI Detention Center to have the body of Sam Mugumya produced. We have not had any response from them, and we expect that any time before the expiry of the 7 days as granted by the judge, while granting that order, Sam will have been either arraigned before a competent court or even released unconditionally. And that's the position we have now. The advantage of such a writ of habeas corpus is that if the respondents do not comply with that order, then we shall have to move the court for contempt, and therefore they have to face the law themselves in their individual capacities.
So, but let me ask, when he was arrested, are you very sure that he was arrested by the military or even police? What do you base on to think the people you are serving, they actually have Sam Mugumya?
Yes, the people that were on site from that name hotel where he was kidnapped from, so the people who kidnapped him, some had army uniform, and therefore who is in charge of the army is the CDF. Above all, the power and the sovereignty of the state is to protect citizens. So that's the question court asked the representative of the Attorney General, that if people believe that their person is missing and by that time on Friday there were 9 days, the state has the obligation to protect the people and their property. Therefore, you must give an account. That's why we included the Attorney General. But because we have all proof that the people that were involved in his kidnap and abduction were in army uniform and therefore armed, that's why we really had to go on and serve the CDF and therefore the director of CMI, at the detention center.
This is your client. He spent almost a decade in a jail in Ndola in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I'm sure he was facing charges preferred against him by the government of the Congo. And when he came back, Samu Gumia was reluctant to come back to Uganda. He, I think, went to Europe and stayed in Europe for quite some time. When he returned to Uganda, before he returned to Uganda, and why was he reluctant to come back?
He was reluctant a bit because he feared for his security. People from the security were giving him threats even when he was still in the raw prison in the DRC. But you know that exile is not easy for somebody to live in, and some people must know that Sam is a prisoner of conscience, and he believes that he's very innocent. The problem we are facing is that we actually don't think, if they have all proofs or they want to link him to any charge or commission of an offense, let them charge him formally. That's our question. That his life is not rotting in a detention center, a CMI basement or somewhere, wherever he is, but let him be arraigned in court, charged formally. We shall represent him because we believe in his innocence, and that's the position of the law, that he's presumed innocent, and therefore we cannot ignore him to that rate.
You know why I'm asking? Because I know he was released from the prison in the DRC for quite some time, and me as a journalist, I was looking forward to have him here. I interviewed him a couple of times online from the Congo, and I was looking forward to see him with here until I realized that he wasn't coming to Uganda and not anytime soon. And somehow, with all respect, he acted as if himself was a dissident. So was it not even an error of judgment for him to come back to a country that was not really warming up to return to?
Yeah, you are very right to make that position, and because we know the kind of government and people we are dealing with, especially the ones that want to be above the law. But like I said, he felt uncomfortable in exile and therefore wanted to return home. In returning home, he involved himself in a number of meetings, and that was maybe the reason. You cannot be completely ignoring the issue that even his arrest and detention must be related to the political side that he has taken, and having come back to actively involve himself in politics. Maybe most of the people think that the detention he was in DRC would deter him from continuing to actively involve himself in politics, which was not the case because of what he believes in as an individual. Even after so many people engaging him not to return because of the threats he was facing, but some he was so confident to return. So basically, I cannot justify for now the biggest reason that pushed him to return to Uganda, especially when we were nearing elections and abductions in November of the day. But maybe if we have his body, we can have a discussion and then update the nation.
You are an office of court. You are dealing with some of these cases where some people are prisoners of conscience, and it appears you lawyers are losing some kind of confidence in the judicial system in which you work. Some of the people whom you are, especially the prosecutors on the other side, are people you've gone to school with, or your friends, or your colleagues, you call yourself land friends. Do you have confidence that the system can actually grant some justice?
It's not all the people in the judiciary that have lost it all. No, we still have people that believe in the protection of others' rights and also involved in promoting the rule of law and constitutionalism. Yes, some few examples, some few people in the judiciary have distanced themselves from following what the law provides, and they are only doing what their masters and their people are doing. But much as we continue to do our work, our is present our case, and then we leave the judge to expose himself for either incompetence or competence, on whether they believe and want to fulfill the oath they took, whether they are just wanting to do and please or appease their serving masters or the people that appointed them in these offices. But us, we shall keep doing our role, and we shall keep calling out the names of people that we feel are showing the level of incompetence that are not responsible and following what the Constitution provides in protecting, promoting, and upholding the fundamental human rights.
So, and lastly, Mr. Kato, what is your hunch telling you? Is Mugumya in Mbarara, is Mugumya in Kampala, where Mbuya, or somewhere in Kireka?
Mugumya is actually at the Mbuya Upper, that CMI detention center. That's the information at least the readers that detect him to be. And we still expect that that's where he is. But also some other sources say that he might be released or arraigned in court because they don't want to conflict openly with the court's decision, especially on a writ of habeas corpus.
You're also a lawyer of Dr. Besji and Lutale.
Yes.
There's a time when we expected these two individuals in court, but they didn't turn out. And for most of the supporters and the people who follow them, it's quite a bother. So what is the case of Dr. Besji and Mr. Lutale coming back for the bail application?
The case of Dr. Besji and Ajibed Lutale was actually began to the 1st of October. That's when they are supposed to be coming to court. But they have intimated clearly that they believe that the judge handling their case and ordering their file is biased. And therefore, for it appear before a biased and a partial judge who expects to give justice to you is doing an injustice to yourself. They have been intimated with us that they don't intend and are not interested in appearing before such kind of a judge. They would rather be there until the judge recuses himself. So therefore, that's what has delayed the hearing of their bail application and even proceeding to start the trial, because the prosecution has intimated that they are ready with it to commence the trial. But it all relates to the kind of a judge handling their matter and on issues that are visibly seen that is already biased and has issues in that line. So we made an application for him to recuse himself from entertaining any matter related to bail, to Dr. Besji and Ajibed Lutale, having taken sides from the word go. And we still have the same position. Our clients have insisted that they don't believe in a trial headed by Justice Waguma, with all due respect, because he has already taken sides, and they still insist that the file should be reallocated to a new judge or even transferred to the International Crime Division where they were committed from Nakawa, or take them back to Nakawa, that the magistrate in Nakawa commit them to the criminal division of the High Court. Minus that, then Dr. Besji and Ajibed Lutale are not about to appear before Justice Waguma because of those reasons.
I want to thank you, Mr. Kato Tumusime, for your submission you've given us. And maybe let me tell this to the listeners. Also, as you hear, I want to be as clear as possible. I know there's Kato and Kakuru, and one of you is my friends. You are very identical, but also your voice is the same. One of you is my friend. So up to now, even if they brought two of you, I can't know who is Kato, I can't know who is Kakuru, but among you, one of them is my buddy.
Yes. Thank you, Patrick.
All right, take care. We're going to take a break. And I will welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Kamara, and tonight we have had from the arrest of mainly of National Unity Platform members. Mufumbiro was arrested today at court, but also last week, Bobby Wine, his bodyguard, Bobby, also known as Bobby Giant or Tassie Calvin, was also taken, and today he also appeared in court. And we've been speaking to the National Unity Platform lawyer, Mr. George Musisi. You've probably heard his submission on this show, but also another very vibrant young man, not the young man anymore, I suppose now, Mr. Sam Mugumya. If you remember Sam Mugumya, the former FDC firebrand who spent more than 9 years in a notorious jail of Ndola in the Democratic Republic of Congo, he came back, and I think he was aspiring to get into the Member of Parliament race for Rukunjiri. He was arrested also, and the lawyers, Kato Tumusime, has told us they've applied for habeas corpus for him to be brought to, whether dead or alive, and they expect that this week he could appear in court, or maybe he could get released. So for all the things you've had, And we now want to take this conversation to you, the people, so that you can also have your say. And so this time I'm opening the line so that you too can have a voice on these matters. What do you make them as of today? You know, this is a very crucial moment because Ugandans are going to decide about who will be getting a mandate to lead in different positions of leadership in 2026, be it members of parliament, be the LC5 chairperson, or even the number one job in the land, the presidency. But before we get there, we see heated kind of actions taking place, especially the arrests of some of these members. And of course, the lawyers of the National Unity Platform and the lawyers of Sam Ogumia think their clients are being held unfairly. What do you make of this? I have a call online. Hello.
Hello, Patrick.
Yes, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Javid.
Yes, David. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Gayaza.
Okay, go right ahead, sir.
And I wanted to confirm that what the period we are in, you need not to be dirty. One, if someone has been seeing you driving without a permit, and he knows that actually you don't really have a permit,
okay,
but he just ignores you. At the point when you have a conflict, or you are at loggerhead, or you become like a competitor, he will use that excuse of saying you don't have a permit. So I would think that if I'm putting on a beret and it's going to cause me issues with the ruling government, I need to throw down the beret so that they don't have an excuse to hold me in. So I would request my friends from MUP not to use high heads like those ones who are already in government, but also to use wisdom on how best they can survive in this election period. Otherwise, most of them are going to remain in jail for long, and it will not be a nice...
I think those are really words of wisdom that you are giving tonight, so that to avoid any encumbrance, to avoid any challenges, they should be as clean as possible.
If they want you to throw away the shoes for that resemble like those ones of under uniform, put away from any excuse that will make you go into jail, and you fail to even get into parliament as Mr. Musonda is also contesting. He needs that position for the betterment of his life and of his political career. So you need to play smart. They need to play well. Otherwise, most of them might not reach at what they are expecting to have.
They could even miss the nomination for a simple thing as that.
Absolutely, you are stuck. They don't know even where you are. Your file gets lost, and you find yourself not achieving your personal ambitions, because most of them, they know themselves that they are there for personal ambition.
Thank you very much.
You know where it is.
Thank you so much. I think I have another call online. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Very good evening to you, Mr. Patrick.
What's your name and where are you calling from, sir?
I'm called Robert from Chira.
Robert, you're on air. Go right ahead.
Mr. Patrick.
Yes.
I want to thank you for this opportunity, first of all.
You're welcome.
When you look at the politics of Uganda, Mr. Patrick, right now we people who are down on ground, we are tired of this politics, and we are tired of our leaders. Whether you want to be a politician or not, there is no one who is going to remove this man in power. Everyone who wants to join the politics will end up the same way these new people are entering.
But you see, you have an option, and everybody has an option. There's going to be a date where Ugandans are going to walk to a voting booth. You go and express yourself in a voting booth.
As the local people. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what we have decided as the local people?
What have you decided?
Let him be, and we are not voting. Majority of us are not.
Okay, well, there is a constitution and there are laws, and the laws of Uganda determine how somebody can be elected, and there's a period for which that can be done. I suppose you follow the law, you follow the constitution, and you follow the timetable that is given, and then you give your mandate to the person that you choose. You don't have to boo, you vote. I think that's what you need to do. So, all right, but... okay, we just take one more caller before we call it a day. I have a call online. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Patrick.
Yes, good evening, sir. This sounds like Mr. Code.
Yes, sir. Thanks for that, sir.
You're welcome. Go right ahead and be very quick if you can.
Yes, I'm very quick and brief. One, whoever is entitled to go and vote, should go and vote. But don't be violent. Because there's no way you can start to seek for accountability when you didn't participate in the election for the candidates you're claiming to have and based on the funds.
Okay.
So let's be peaceful. But let's go and vote. Don't fear to go and cast our vote.
All right. Thank you so much. At least I've had two people there, very calm minds. They think express yourself in a constitutional manner, in a legal manner. And if you want to protest, you can protest in a vote. You keep peace, do what you think is right, and you never know. It could be your vote that will determine the future of Uganda. You could turn the hand of history to go the way how you want by following the legal, the constitutional, and the timetable that has been given for changing leaders. And that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of the Hot Seat. Good night and God bless you.